Although Ubisoft obviously has no plans to develop a version of Assassin's Creed with Middle Indian space, it may eventually produce such a work. The company recently held an AC showcase ceremony, during which many details of Assassin's Creed's future games and projects were released. 3 projects were introduced at the event, each of which seemed exciting in turn. The first is Assassin's Creed Mirage, a traditional Assassin's Creed game focused on parkour, secrecy and killing that flows through 9th century Baghdad. Meanwhile, 2 other games, Assassin's Creed Project Red and Assassin's Creed Project Hexa, are also under construction. The story of the first title runs in Japan, and it looks like the second game will revolve around the execution of witches in Europe, Germany. But among all the possible places for future versions of the series, a major game in medieval India will be fascinating and obligatory. Assassin's Creed is a franchise with unique games, as it provides gamers with an opportunity to meet the old world, at least its theory version. Examples such as Odyssey, Origins and the Ezio Triad introduce pleasantly and entertainingly lost-era societies and cultures such as ancient Greece, Egypt and Byzantium, later changed to Constantinople and Istanbul. Similarly, the coming games of the series are set to depict Japan, Baghdad and parts of Europe. However, Ubisoft has never released any games of the franchise that fully doubts India's recess. The company launched Assassin's Creed Chronicles India, but the title was a 2.5-dimensional game and was generally not considered a true description of this franchise. Naturally, Assassin's Creed has many Indian fans waiting to release a full-blown version of it based on their history. Theoretically, India is considered one of the great ones, because like China, it is one of the ancient geopolitical centers. In addition, there are different historical periods from which Ubisoft, as always, can offer a mixture of different racial history and cultures for gamers. The Delhi monarchy was a collection of Muslim governments in India that ruled Delhi as the capital and regions of northern India from 1206 to 1526, over 300 years. During this historical period, the establishment of Islam was taking place in the Hindustani. This historical era was full of instability, as no dynasty succeeded in preserving the throne of Delhi. During this 300-year period, the Delhi monarchy saw 5 dynasties, which began with the Mamluk dynasty and ended with the Lodi dynasty. The history of this Indian era is full of perennial strife, politics, the assassination of political figures and scandals that make it a great choice for Assassin's Creed game. Gamers can take on the role of a mercenary or assassins and work for one of the sultans or usurpers who seeks to increase their influence. The next choice for an Assassin's Creed game in India could be the famous Mongol era that ran from 1526 to the mid-19th century in the British colonial era in India. In this period of time, since the territorial integrity of the Hindustan Kara was under the rule of a dynasty, the Mongol, it included a more stable historical era than the period of the Delhi state. However, the Mongol era was also filled with civil wars over succession and dynastic policies. There was a historical to private period from 1550 to 1555 when Afghans, led by the Syrian Sher Shah, briefly ousted the Mongols and formed the Syrian army by seizing the throne. Nasr al-Din Humayun, the then Mongol emperor, took the throne with the help of the Safavids. An Assassin's Creed game that is both factions and draws the regions of northern India and Iran would be amazing. The last and most appropriate period of time for a possible Assassin's Creed title in India could be the mid-1750s and the British colonial period in India. Unsurprisingly, this Indian era is considered its darkest historical reunion, where small Indian governments gradually bequested by the powerful English Empire. Britain defeated many local rulers, including Sikhs, Marathes, Bengal Nawabs, the Kingdom of Mysore and many others. Assassin's Creed Chronicles India was played during this time period, but another game exploring deeper into Indian society at the time will appear very different. Gamers can take on the role of a constitutionalist from each of these local Indian kingdoms to save their homeland from the evils of their colonial masters. The best space belongs to the 1857 riots in India, when the natives of India stood up to England with a united front. India currently has more than 1 billion inhabitants, and aspiring gamers make up a significant portion of the population, making it a huge market for gaming companies. Publisher companies such as Electronic Arts, Rockstar Games, Activision and Sony earn millions of dollars a year from Indian gamers. Ubisoft already has a successful presence in the country, but a title from Assassin's Creed series, which runs in India, is increasing profitability. Further on, the IO Interactive studio game, Hitman 2, was streamed in Mumbai and achieved great success in the Indian market. No doubt, Indian gamers will be happy with a big AAA title that's going on in their country, and developers can also pocket huge profits. Given that Assassin's Creed's future games are looking to revive the franchise's traditional gameplay by focusing on secrecy and parkour, a version of the game with medieval Indian atmosphere can be interesting.